let's start. Well, as I said, as you said, my name is Eduard de Boer. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm a business view photographer for Google, and tonight I want to explain a couple of things about Google Maps Business View and how it relates to local SEO as far as I can see it. A brief introduction. I'm a photographer for a couple of decennia, and since about January 2013, I got into touch with Google Maps Business View. Back then it had a different name, and I subscribed myself. I got contacted by a coordinator from Bulgaria actually, and they said, well, okay, if you are interested, we can take you through the training and educate you as a business photographer, and then you can start taking business view panoramas. So let me take you through a couple of things. First, a little bit of history. Google Maps. Well, Google Maps, long time ago, it started once upon a time with the mapping of cities and companies in city streets. From there, it went through the countries, and Google took it further through routing. They could give you the route from A to B. For example, I show you the route right here from where I live, approximately where I live, to Paris. But they took it further. They took it to the bottom of the sea. They took it to the moon, and actually also Google has it even taken up to Mars. I wonder whether they have taken a.
Oh, wow, really? I did not know that. That's wow.
Already.
Yeah, because Terry, I was thinking about hopping on our private spacecraft and heading out to Mars. So.
Yeah, I don't have the mapping into Mars, but there are a few locations known into Mars thanks to NASA. So what is Google Maps Street View? Everyone knows it. You can Google has taken their Street View cars across the streets. Actually, up to present, they have covered around 7,000 kilometers or 7 million miles, no, kilometers, or miles, kilometers, and about 6 million miles. They've covered over 50 countries. They covered all the roads, etc. But not only by cars. They've used trikes to cover, for example, Stonehenge in the UK. And they use the trikes to go into places where cars can take them. And even they have a tracker which they can take onto a backpack into caves, to map caves. And even they go underwater to map the underwater world.
See, I had no clue about any of that.
Yeah. Wow. Actually, for example, they've covered already the Great Barrier Reef. They've covered a lot of places, parts of the Red Sea, parts of the coast of Cozumel. You can go underwater in those areas with the technology of Google Street View.
Wow. I guess if you're scuba diving, that would probably be useful, eh?
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? Like, get one of those newly patented Google freaking contact lenses or something? Like, what? You know, how are you going to take that underwater?
No, but you could go, while you were plotting a trip, you could go down and see what part of the reef you wanted to go down and explore.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, just someone who does it a lot, I'm sure they'd be able to recognize various landmarks or whatever. Yeah, okay.
The only thing I wonder is whether the fishes are still there once you've seen them on Google Maps.
Take a snapshot for posterity, yeah.
Right. Nevertheless, the technology is there, and Google has brought it also into companies. Google Maps Business View. It used to have another name, but it was renamed actually up into Google Maps Business View in March 18th this year. What it is doing, it's actually mapping.
You know, and remind me after the show, Edward, because I literally ran into a couple of patents on this over last week that I will certainly share with you.
Cool. So it's mapping the streets into the business. So as a Google photographer, what we do, we start 10 feet from the entrance of the business, and from there we take it really to the inside of the business, inside of the company. So what is Google Maps Business View? It is performed and allowed to be performed only by trusted photographers. To give you an example, in the Netherlands there are about 95 to 100 certified or trusted photographers. We have been trained, so we offer consistent quality, and we do actually our own marketing. Although Google is offering the business view service on their website, I'm being listed actually as a business photographer on the Google Maps Business View website. But we have to do our own marketing. We have to get our own customers. We have our own contract with the customer. But obviously, we're supported by the Google infrastructure.
Okay, so basically, you guys are going out and approaching businesses and saying, "Are you interested in this service?" And that's how they're going about it.
Exactly. To give you an example, it's not for me. I'm not only going into businesses, but I'm also approaching the other way around. I have approached, for example, an app maker who is making apps for dentists, and he is offering my business view photo shoots to dentists to be included in his mobile apps. And he is charging a premium for this map to be shown, this inside tour, this virtual tour to be shown into the mobile app.
Edward, just a question. When you were talking about taking the pictures at the entrance to the buildings, I read something about a patent that Google had been working on and some work that they'd done where they had you photograph the numbers on the building, correct?
Yes, if you don't mind, I will come into that later.
Sure.
All what we call the mandatory pictures, I will have to take as a Google trusted photographer. I will cover that. So what I'm using special equipment for taking the 360 degrees pictures. It's obviously I will be using some kind of fisheye lens. I can't go into many more details because of the NDA I've signed with Google, and I have to take specific mandatory pictures, and that I can cover. As I said, the stuff I take a lot of pictures. For an average location, I take a couple of thousand pictures, and I upload them to the Google infrastructure, and that is as far as I can go up to the detail.
Right, and their stuff does the stitching together and everything, right?
Yes, they stuff it together.
Yeah, that's actually one of the patents that came out that was awarded to Google just last week. Was actually how about that and the stitching and how they do that kind of thing. So
yes, they stitch it together. So, for example, we take pictures in all the every 90 degrees. So and we take what they call HDR pictures. So we take 3 pictures on every point. So we take in a total of 12 pictures in every panorama point, and those are being stitched into one photosphere. And photospheres are actually since couple of months also being offered to consumers. I will come back to that later. But what Google is offering us, or me as a Google Business View photographer, is an infrastructure where I can also track and lead claims and prospects to avoid that other Google Business View photographers are claiming are trying to approach the same business, and to avoid any irritation. And yes, we use it to place the pictures on the location, on the map, and we also have to correct the orientation. For example, it's pretty difficult on a 1 or 2 degree accuracy to position all the pictures which we take on all the different points. And on the map, we have to correct this orientation visually, and of course, we connect the whole shoot to the CID of the Google Plus business page. And in case where it is possible, so where there has been a Street View car, we can connect the business to Street View. And then the mandatory pictures, right? Like you just referred to, Terry, we have to take a picture of the house number, the number of the business, the number in the street. That's mandatory. If it's not there, well, actually it should be there, especially in the Netherlands. Every building has a number. Can't be without a number. But there are other mandatory pictures we have to take. We have to take pictures of a business card of the owner. If there is a sign of the opening hours at the door, we have to take a picture of that. And actually this information I'm sharing right now is not confidential, because if you look up any Google business shoot any trusted photographer has performed, you will see those kind of pictures. So I can share this with you without any problem. If there is a sign of payment methods near the cash register, we have to take pictures of that. If there are any awards or certifications the business or business owner has won, we have to take pictures of those. In a restaurant, we have to take pictures of menus. We have to take pictures of any evacuation plans or floor plans which we see. And all.
Okay, so I saw some stuff about Google and menus and local lately as well. So that's you guys that would be doing that while you're there, kind of thing.
Sorry?
Okay, recently there's been some stuff I've been seeing with Google Local. I don't know, Darren, if you've seen any of it with the menus and stuff that are showing up. And so that would be something you guys would do when you're there, as far as,
yes,
is that where the menu pictures are coming from?
Those are the menu pictures we take. And I will come back to that later, but when I have a topic where I will explain that Google loves data. And all the kind of pictures we can find in the location which are relevant for the location, for the business. And like I said, there is also a consumer product since a couple of months, which is called Photospheres. There is a smartphone app you can download for either iOS or for Android to take 360 degrees pictures, and you can upload them to a specific page on Google to define it as a panorama, and then you can upload it to Google Maps, and Google will either approve it or disapprove it. And when it has been approved, it will show on Google Maps. And actually, what it is not shown on Street View. That's a big difference with the business view photography, because I, as a Google Business View photographer, I'm allowed to connect, and I'm able to connect the shoots I've performed to Google Street View if there is a Street View point nearby, which is shown without any how do I say it, a visual obstruction. If I can walk straight from a certain point on Google Street View up to the entrance of a business, I am allowed and capable of connecting the business. Otherwise, I'm not allowed. But the photospheres, which are individual panorama points which consumers can take and upload to Google, are not connected to Street View. Although, what consumers can do is interconnect various photospheres, various panorama points, into one constellation. So you can walk through a building. So, for example, Terry, you could still walk into a church with your smartphone and take all kinds of photospheres at different points and interconnect them into one constellation. Nevertheless, you will not be allowed or capable to connect them to Street View.
Okay, only partners can do that. That's one of the advantages to having the partner do this stuff for you, correct, Edward?
Well, because he's trained by them, there's going to be certain specific data points that they need and to connect.
And also the quality. Don't forget the quality, because the glass I'm using, not Google Glass, but the glass I'm using in front of my camera is different from the glass in front of a smartphone.
Oh, okay. Better camera as well, I would think.
The camera, yes. So I'm not taking my pictures with a smartphone.
Yeah. Just so people know, Darren and Ammon have joined us.
Hey, everybody.
Darren will be talking about citations and, how you get to the top of Google.
And Ammon will just have birds flying around his head and look like
Ammon's
a cat.
just here. He's
That's what is paying for the last
the
podcast.
entertainment on our shows.
Yeah. All right, sorry, Ray, go ahead.
So going back to, yes, because it's not connected to Street View, it will also not show up into a Google Plus business page of a business if there are any photospheres. It will show up on Google Maps, but it will not show up in a Google Plus business page. That's a big difference. So only the trusted photographers are capable and able to connect shoots to a business and a Google Plus business page.